Hey everyone, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel, and today's non-diabetes related video is just a few basic tips for those of you that are going to be entering college soon or are thinking about entering college in the near future. I myself am in college, and I thought I'd pass along some of these tips that really help me stay on top of the game and just get more comfortable with the beginning parts of college. I started college right after I graduated high school. I started college in the summer, literally like 3 days after I graduated high school. I wanted to get a move on with things. I'll explain that more maybe as I go further along too, but it was long before I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and I hope to delve more into the financial aspect of paying for college as well as studying tips for dealing with different professors and how to wrangle yourselves around different classes and get through them, because each class you're going to take is probably going to be way different because each professor is way different and the way you might have to study is going to be way different. But anyways, I'll jump into the 10 basic facts that really helped me succeed in college and at the very beginning when I was applying. My first tip, obviously, before you even think about going to this college, is to tour it or get a good grip from somebody what it's like. I go to a technical college that I can commute to. I am studying to be a dental hygienist. It is an Associates of Applied Science degree. So I have been to this college even long before I knew I was going to go there. I have seen it. I've had family members go to it. So I was able to kind of ask around, look around. I had a couple other options for technical colleges that I could have went to for my degree too, but they would have been a lot longer driving, and the other one I would have had to live at, which would have skyrocketed my costs, and obviously if I can stay home, that is the best choice as far as saving money. But those of you might have to apply to different universities, four-year universities that you're away from at home. There's a couple four-year universities that are nearby me too that I could have went to if I wasn't going for this specific degree, or I can also go to these colleges after and pursue bachelor's degrees and stuff. So I'm pretty lucky to be living in an area where I can commute to many different colleges and post-secondary educational needs. So along with like touring the college, be sure that you're going to apply early. So once I knew I was going to go to this specific college, like I said, I won't say where because I don't want any like privacy concerns with me long after I graduate, or after I graduate then I will unveil to you guys where I went to college. But apply early to this particular college or colleges that you want if you can. For me, the college that I go to, the main thing you had to have was that you had to be a high school senior and you had to have like an unofficial transcript ready to go. So my high school had all our unofficial transcripts ready to go about halfway through our senior year. So this was about December of 2016 for me. So that is when I applied immediately to this college, and that is when I knew that they were going to accept me or at least get me in the runnings for everything. So and I'll delve more into my specific program because it is very competitive. I had to do things quite quickly in order to keep myself at the top of the game and at the top of the waiting list. So if you guys are applying to a competitive program at either a technical college or a university, definitely stay on top of all your requirements. Do really well and keep good grades. Like I said, I'll delve more into like how the financial thing helps play into a role, because if you have really good grades in high school like I did, you can win a lot of different aid that you won't hardly have to pay as much as somebody else would for college. The second main tip I have is to ask for help if you need it. When I went for my orientation and registering for classes, I asked for help constantly. Introduce yourself to the counselor or counselors you might be working with. I know at my technical college we have several counselors, and these certain counselors are responsible for certain programs. Like for me, my counselor is responsible for the dental hygiene program, and she's also responsible for a few other health science programs like the ultrasound techs and the radiography or the radiography, or like something, the people that do like the x-rays and stuff. So she's responsible for all those students, helping us get placed into classes, complete our classes in the right order, make sure we're doing all our stuff on time so that we can graduate with our group or our class once accepted. The third tip I have, again, I'll delve more into this in another video, is apply for as much financial aid and as many scholarships as you can. You guys, there are tons out there that aren't even applied for, and people that are willing to donate and help you. Even if you don't win a certain scholarship, at least put your application in. I do this all the time. I am constantly applying to different scholarships, whether they're essay scholarships, simple filling out your name and what you're majoring in, whatever the case may be, just do them. and you might be surprised. You might win $500 or $600, and you know what? $500 or $600 is going to pay for a lot. It could pay for a whole semester of books for you. It could pay for, like for me, if we have more money that we didn't use, depending upon the tuition costs, they reimburse that back to you, and you could put that towards your gas costs. Like for me, I have a gas cost going to college because I have to commute. So, apply for as much aid as you can, apply for as many scholarships as you can, and apply for them early, because the earlier you apply, the better chance you are guaranteed more of a chance to get more of this aid, or a better chance of getting access to more aid than maybe somebody else would. So definitely apply for financial aid. The fourth tip I have is choose healthy food options or make your own food decisions. Now, I hope maybe I can delve into this story a little bit more. But when I entered high school, I was 150 pounds. I was the weight I am now. But then at the time I ended high school, I was about 180 to 175 pounds. I had gained about 25 pounds. I wasn't considered obese or extremely overweight or anything, but I definitely could have stood to be back at the weight I was, or even for me at a height of 5'7" to 5'7.5", I could be up to 165 pounds and be healthy. So I had about a minimum of an excess 15 pounds on me. So I could have stood to lose some weight, but that's because in high school, at least at my high school, it was extremely competitive to ensure that you get as much scholarships and get out with a high class rank. Well, I did that, but to me, high school was way more stressful for me than college. That's my opinion. Whether you guys agree with me or not is another story. Or for those of you that are going to be entering college, you're going to find out I think it's a lot nicer. To me, college is more freedom. It's more on your own time. You're not having somebody nag at you. You're not really going 9 to 5 or 8 to 3 every single day for 5 days a week. But again, it depends on your schedules and stuff and how much of a course load you take. But college is a lot more freedom. It's a lot more, it's a nice transition into going from being stuck in a school building for 8 hours a day to being into the adult workforce. So definitely make healthier food choices. That's why I gained a lot of weight, because of the excess stress. I was eating more food than I should have. So that's why I gained quite a bit of weight. But as soon as I started college, I made it bound and determined that I was going to eat better, and you know, I just definitely felt less stressed, so I didn't feel like I had to constantly be eating to like kind of make up for the stress and stuff. Stress eating is a huge thing, you guys. So definitely make a choice to eat healthier, or if you're going to eat an on-campus option, just try to choose as many healthy options as possible. Not saying I don't eat fast food. Even now, I eat fast food, guys. I'm not perfect. I am a human being, but I do as much home cooking as possible. So when I started college, I noticing I lost a little bit of weight, so that was a good thing for me. And then when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I'd lost a ton more weight, but that was unexpected weight loss. So there's a difference between actually intentional versus unintentional weight loss, but you guys will get to learn that more as I delve into my diagnosis story. So definitely make as many healthy food and drink choices as possible. The fifth tip I have for you guys is to use a calendar or an agenda or a planner of some sort to mark down all your assignments, tests, due dates, deadlines, etc. With college, there's a lot to do. And a lot of these things that you do are not really basic assignments. There are some assignments. A professor might make you do a certain like worksheet or a certain like homework quiz type thing online or something, but those usually don't account for much of your grades. When you get to college, it is testing, and it is like your practical exams that really make up, and like essays and big huge projects that make up the bulk of your grade. And if you're not keeping track of them and not preparing for them well enough, you can easily fail a class, because at least at my college, and at least the way I've dealt with professors, like 80 to 85% of your grade comes from your exams. So you better make sure you know when that exam is so that you can appropriately prepare for it. So invest in something that can give you an organizational way of knowing when certain things are due, when certain things aren't due, so that you can get a better idea of how you're going to handle things and prioritize all your different assignments, quizzes, tests, etc. So the sixth tip I have for you guys is don't be afraid to ask the professor or your instructors questions. Oftentimes, you will find out very quickly that each professor has a totally different teaching style, and this teaching style may not really work well for the way you learn. So if a professor says something or does something that doesn't really make sense for you, just ask them to explain it in a different way, or say, could you clarify on this specific term or this specific application you want me to learn, because I'm not really understanding it, and most of the time they will gladly re-explain it in a different way or show it to you guys in a totally different manner. Because not only are you helping yourself, you may be helping that person who's too scared to ask the professor. So feel free to ask questions and definitely work with other people that have similar learning styles to you, because you can kind of help each other out. Even work with people that have different learning styles, because they may be able to communicate things with you and explain things more easier than a professor could. So definitely work with people. I guess that's kind of a bonus. But anyways, we'll get into tip 7. Take good notes, but be a better listener. Now, at least some of the instructors I've dealt with, they often give you like basic things that they want you to know, or you'll have like a real basic worksheet or note sheet that they might give to you or may not give to you. But if you have to take notes, make sure you take them, but don't overtake them. Be sure that you're listening more than you are taking notes, because oftentimes if a professor will repeat something over and over and over again, odds are they want you to A, know it, but B, most likely it's going to show up on some sort of test or quiz or assignment that you need to know and you need to be able to understand in order to move on and pass the class or whatever the case may be. So definitely be a good note taker, but be a better listener. Oftentimes, at least when I'm dealing with things, it's a very independent thing with college. You basically get lectured to, and it's up to you how you want to take notes or how you want to listen to the instructor. I have seen people literally not take any notes and just listen the whole entire time, and they're fine. They do great on all their stuff. There are people like me who take a little bit of notes or do a lot of reading outside of class, but try to mostly pay attention to the listening, but do some note taking as well. So I'm kind of mixed and blended. And then there are just people that cannot stand to listen to the professor, and they just are constantly writing notes all the time, and they do fine too. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the best way to go about it is to be a great listener in college and definitely improve on your listening skills and picking up things that may be important that the professor or the instructor wants you to know. But again, you're going to find out what works for you, but definitely be open to listening and taking notes in college, because each professor is going to be way, way different, like I've repeated 10,000 times. So tip number 8 is study well in advance for tests and quizzes, and write your papers or your essays or your reports well in advance before they're due. Obviously with essays and stuff, you want to make sure they're edited nicely, so peer edit with other people. Have other people take a look at your papers to make sure that they're not worded funky, or that there's not something really, really wrong that could really affect how the professor interprets it or grades you. And with your tests, study at least a week in advance. There are different ways you can study. Again, I want to do more stuff specified about all the different aspects of college, but study for your tests long in advance, whether you have to make note cards, reread PowerPoints, go through the textbooks, and oftentimes too, at least in my college, a lot of the professors would put their audio lectures up on what we have a Blackboard shell. That's basically where we access all our assignments, turn in a lot of our papers, and stuff like that, and major assignments are all turned in electronically. So often they would attach like what we had did for, say, week 5 or whatever week it was, so that you could go back anytime and re-listen to that. So if you have to re-listen to that, do that. If you have to rewrite your notes to get things to stick in your head, do that. Make note cards, study with people, do a variety of different things to study for tests, but the main thing is please study for these tests in advance. I have definitely studied for tests the night before and I've done fine, but for whatever reason I seem to do fine. But don't follow me. I have learned too, even though I am extremely good at memorizing things and picking things up, and I am very, very educated in that aspect, I still don't study for tests the night before. Ever since I started college, I always study for tests at least 1 week in advance, if not 2 weeks in advance, because then you're not cramming all this stuff at once. You are slowly learning and soaking in this information over a longer period of time, so it makes it easier for you to make sense of all the different pieces so you don't miss anything. Number 9 is keep all your classes or your subjects or your courses or whatever you're studying all in different binders or different folders and notebooks. That way you know what you're going to take with you to specific days. Because if you're living in a dorm or if you're at home, living at home like me, if I know I only have 2 classes on that day, I'm only going to take those 2 class notes. I'm not going to throw a whole bunch of stuff in my book bag and carry a bunch of extra heavy stuff. So if you keep things separated, it makes it lighter on the backpack, and it makes it easier for you to not miss things that you might have to go look back at during class, or it allows you to not have to worry about, oh crap, I grabbed this notebook instead of that notebook. Now I wrote all these notes in this notebook. I gotta tear them out and put them in this one. So it definitely makes things a lot more organized and makes things a lot less chaotic, and it saves you a lot of time of either rewriting notes or stapling and making things look messy and crappy. So keep all your stuff separated if you can, or keep things in an organized fashion where you aren't confused as to what type of papers or what folder or whatever material belongs to whatever class. Keep things labeled, keep things separated. That is key number 9 for you guys. The 10th and final tip I have for you guys is to rent any of your books or materials if you can. Again, this goes more into the financial costs, but you will save yourself a lot of money, and especially if it's a course so you know that's more of a general course. Definitely consider renting the book or renting the materials that you're going to need, because you can get it for a reduced cost, and obviously if it's something you really don't, you just need to borrow for a semester and return, great. Like for me, I had to take a lot of like sociology classes, I had to take like English classes, speech classes. A lot of my general education is stuff that I was just going to use for one semester and be done with. So I would just like either rent the book or borrow it with somebody else, or find somebody that you know has gone through that course already and would be willing to sell their book to you for a cheaper cost. So that's definitely something I recommend. Like I said, this is a very generalized video about how to kind of get yourself in gear for any of you who are thinking about going to college or will be applying to colleges soon. Like I said, I hope to do more in depth about the financial aspects of college, kind of, you know, more how to study in college, and I hope to really dive into how I'm going to manage diabetes with college, because I did about a third of my degree already without being diabetic, because I was just diagnosed after I finished all my general education. So now I go back in the summer or in the fall here, I'm going to have to manage my diabetes around that. So we're going to see how that goes, and we are going to document that for you guys here on YouTube. So I hope this video helped any of you who may have stumbled across it randomly, or any of my diabetic or non-diabetic viewers that are thinking about entering college, or even any of you adults who are just curious about college life nowadays. I hope this video shed some light on it, and if you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We are closing in on 100 subscribers. I am so blessed to have all you guys following me, and just I appreciate every single one of you, and I think you're all amazing, and I had a lot of fun interacting with you guys. So until tomorrow's video, take care, God bless, be kind, spread positivity, and be thankful. Bye everyone.